Hello, friends. The 1064th day of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. Let's start with a critical area for the Ukrainian armed forces, Velyka Novosilka, on the border of Donetsk and Zaporizhia regions. Let me remind you that the village is a large fortified area of the Ukrainian army and is one step away from encirclement, judging by data from the Ukrainian side. Editor-in-chief of the Ukrainian publication, Censor Butusov, states that Velyka Novosilka can now only be reached on foot due to the presence of Russians on the flanks. The Ukrainian armed forces are holding out in a corridor from 2 kilometers to 3.5 kilometers wide. It is completely under fire from the Russians. Butusov calls the situation catastrophic. It is impossible to establish communications, organize supplies, and a quick evacuation. How can this be held any longer? There are no reinforcements. But there is an order to hold on, Butusov states. He calls for giving the command to withdraw the Ukrainian armed forces from Velyka Novosilka. A Ukrainian fighter with the call sign Muchnoy writes that the enemy continues to storm the eastern and southeastern parts of the village, where they are gradually making progress. According to him, while we are holding them back, others are busy figuring out how to get out of there properly. Any attempt to get out is being corrected by drones and artillery. Of course, I don't want to wait for bad information in this direction, but the fighters tell me that they are very tired and exhausted and understand that not everyone will get out of there. Someone needs to cover the retreat. This place has become hell for many. The enemy is clearing everything in its path, and not everyone may have a chance to survive, writes Muchnoy. Ukrainian military expert Miroshnikov says that trouble is brewing in Velyka Novosilka. There is no doubt that the enemy will capture the settlement in the near future. I am worried about the losses we will have to leave there with. The rapid loss of Remevka made a normal withdrawal from the entire defense area impossible, writes Miroshnikov. In the Kurakovi direction, the Ukrainian armed forces counterattacked on both sides of the highway to Zaporizhia in the area of Zelenivka and Andriivka. According to the fighter Muchnoy, all this is being done to prevent the bag from collapsing quickly, and to prevent our guys who are inside from coming under fire, and having the opportunity to evacuate from there. At the same time, he says that the Russians are vigorously attacking the village of Dachny, the next settlement after Kurakovi to the west along the highway. Near Pokrovsk, in the area of Udachny, the Ukrainian armed forces are counterattacking. Very intense fighting is underway. Also, according to the Ukrainian military, the Russians are already carrying out FPV attacks on the Pokrovsk-Pavlograd highway, which has become dangerous to drive on. The Deep State map records 2 Russian advances in the last 24 hours in the area of Vozvezhenka, to the east of Pokrovsk and northwest of Kurakovi. By the way, according to the fighter Muchnoy, the enemy has already captured Baranivka and is accumulating forces for further assaults. He reports that if the hole here is not plugged, the enemy will push us north in order to more tightly cover the important route for both us and them. On the Deep State map, Baranivka is under Ukrainian control. In Toretsk, the Ukrainian military telegram channel Deep State previously wrote that the Russians began fighting for the Toretsk mine, the last major industrial facility held by the Ukrainian armed forces. According to him, according to information from the unit, the enemy was not allowed to gain a foothold there. But in general communication with the fighters, they described the situation in Toretsk as very disappointing. The enemy infantry is constantly seeping into the depths of the city, gradually occupying it. The defense forces are constantly searching for the enemy in order to defeat it, but the endless pressure of 1 to 3 infantry units makes itself felt. The situation is not developing with the best potential for development for the entire city. The line of contact in Toretsk remains a mystery, where, according to Osint, there is practically no point in navigating at all. Only for general understanding of where the enemy can reach, Deep State reported earlier. Meanwhile, Today, Ukrainian serviceman Bunyatov talks about the worsening situation in the city. According to him, it is not very rosy, since the Russians are advancing and occupying the commanding heights. Fighter Muchnoy writes today that the Russians cleaned up the northwestern outskirts of Toretsk. According to him, the waste heaps of the Velyka mine and mine number 12 are under enemy control. The enemy only needs to attack the territory of the Toretsk mine and the city will already be completely under occupation, he added. He also reported that Russian troops are advancing in the suburbs in the village of Krimsky, where 6 streets remain under our control. Judging by the deep state map, there are practically no areas left in the city that are stably controlled by the Ukrainian armed forces. According to military experts, the enemy has captured approximately 60% of the city in Chasiv Yar. Bild military observer Julian Rurk reports that control over the largest multi-story district and a fireproofing plant has been lost, while the Ukrainian armed forces control the city's administrative center and several summer cottage areas. Friends, I understand that the duration of events is becoming less relevant for you, but for me, the situation is only getting worse. Those who have been with me for a long time know that preparing reports on this channel has become my main job, and I have no other job for obvious reasons. Lately, the channel has had few views, so I ask for your help. If you have the opportunity to support me with a cup of coffee, I will be very grateful. Thank you very much for understanding and see you in the next video.